welcome to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone on Spreaker Radio, coming to you live from Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, Sunday, September 8th, 2013. Honestly, this weekend has probably been so phenomenal just because football season is back, and as Peyton Manning and Eli Manning would say, there's football on your phone. It's in full swing right now, and honestly, I couldn't be more excited. Saturday, you have college football, the college atmosphere, waking up at 6 in the morning, getting up, and going crazy for a kickoff at noon. And then Sunday, you wake up, more than likely from your hangover, and you watch some NFL. You just sit on the couch Sunday afternoon watching some pros go at it. I love it. Again, I was watching a couple of games today, and I had multiple games on. I had one on my laptop, and I had one couple on the TV, just switching back and forth, because honestly, I embrace football so much now, and it's so exciting. And like I said, it's one of those things where it's just a great sport, and it really brings so many people together, and I love it. Like I said, this is Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone on Spreaker Radio, coming to you live from Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. So what we're going to talk about today, a lot is believe me, we have so much to talk about. Starting off with college football, how crazy that was. We already have some major upsets from yesterday to talk about, and obviously a lot of close football games today, a lot closer than maybe many people think, and a couple of surprise bonehead moves by players that cost teams games early in the season. And again, it's just a great sport to watch. Let's start off with the NFL. Obviously, with a lot going on right now, obviously some of you maybe not be listening just because, again, there's a lot. There's still a couple games going on. Cardinals and the Rams are going on Fox right now. It is 24-21 Cardinals, and the Rams have the ball. They have it 9:57 left in the fourth quarter, and Sam Bradford's moving the ball 3rd and 11 on the 23, on Arizona's 23. They just moved into the red zone right now. Again, you can catch the game on Fox. Also on Fox, the game of the week, Packers, 49ers. What a game that is right now. It's just the fourth quarter just started. 49ers are up 24-21. Packers have the ball. The bad man himself, Aaron Rodgers, is driving. Obviously, another game to watch. But starting off with the early games today, the 1 o'clock kickoff games, the Bengals and the Bears, two teams that have big aspirations this season. The Bengals, obviously, one of the so-called premier teams in the AFC, against a Bears team that went through a lot. They won 10 games, although Lovie Smith got fired. New coach Mark Trestman comes in, and we expected to see a bigger offense, and Cutler performed. 21 of 33, 242, 2 touchdowns. Matt Forte, pretty good, 50 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Brandon Marshall, obviously over 100 yards receiving, and a touchdown on the day. As the Bears come out on top, 24-21. And the Dolphins get a win over the Browns. Obviously, it's a game. The Dolphins are one of those teams where if everything clicks together, they could overtake New England this season. A lot of them have them potentially upsetting New England and being that team that gets the AFC East crown this season. And they showed off their offense in a really good way. Tannehill, 24 of 38, 272 yards through the air and a touchdown. And Brian Hartline catching 9 balls, 114 yards and a score. As the Dolphins, beat the Browns 23-10. The Lions get up. Obviously, 2 years ago, great team. Last year, a little bit of a slump. They start off this year offensively on fire. Obviously, with the new addition of Reggie Bush, and he just played absolutely phenomenal. 21 carries, 90 yards, 4 receptions, 101 yards, and a score. Over 190 yards on the day. Megatron really not that efficient, but who cares? Lions come out on top, 34-24. Adrian Peterson held to under 100 yards rushing, but got 2 scores in the day. Christian Ponder, 18 of 28, 236, and a score. In a game that most people thought that would be a little bit ridiculous, and that would be a blowout, but actually was a lot closer than most people think, and it turned out to be that way. The Colts barely get by the Raiders, 21-17. Andrew Luck, very efficient, 18 of 23, 178 yards and 2 scores. But Terrell Pryor, this guy, again, for what the Raiders have right now, honestly, they have absolutely really no offensive weapons other than Darren McFadden. and he was really irrelevant in this game. Terrell Pryor, 19 of 29, 217 yards and a touchdown in the air, and on the ground, 13 carries, 112 yards. But obviously, Pryor throws a pick late in the red zone, and the Raiders lose that game. But hey, this Raiders team might be a little more exciting than people think. This is just a game, but one game. But honestly, Terrell Pryor, hey, with what he has right now, I mean, that's a pretty good start for an Oakland team that obviously is picked to be one of the worst teams in the league. In a game on Fox earlier in the day, the Saints and the Falcons. Falcons obviously went on a big run last year, almost got to the big game, and the Saints come to town. Well, the Saints are in town, obviously. It's a home game. And obviously with Peyton back as the head coach, obviously being suspended for all last season, Drew Brees looked phenomenal in that game. 26 of 35, 357 yards passing, 2 scores. Matt Ryan on the other hand, not too bad. 25 of 38, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, but threw a pick late. And the Saints hold off the Falcons 23-17. In a game that I wanted to talk about a little bit, the New York Jets, obviously they get so much pub because you know what, they're in New York, big market. And obviously there's a lot of turmoil going on in there, and obviously as the press, who doesn't like that? Geno Smith, this guy has been absolutely unbelievable. In this first game, he was phenomenal. 24 of 38, 256 and a score. Obviously, the Jets got some help with a safety early from Josh Freeman, and there was a lot of questions. Buccaneers got a field goal late, but the Jets drive down. Geno Smith runs out of bounds and gets a hit. They get a late hit flag from David, the defensive player, and that pretty much is a 15-yard penalty that puts them in field goal range, and the Jets win on a last-second field goal. The Jets are 1-0 to start this season. It's absolutely phenomenal, and honestly, I'm just as surprised as anybody with the way that Geno Smith played. Again, they really don't have any really good receivers. I mean, Kellen Winslow, pretty good on the day, 7 catches, 79 yards and a score, but realistically, who else do they have to throw? But Geno Smith was efficient when he needed to be. Also carried the ball 6 times for 47 yards. Hey, the Jets, they aren't terrible, but they play the Patriots next week. We'll tell you a little bit about that, but we'll see what happens in that game. Titans-Steelers. It was a really defensive game for both teams. Both these teams very inefficient offensively. And it is the Titans, believe it or not, that come out on top 16-9. The Titans' defense was absolutely phenomenal, holding Roethlisberger to under 200 yards passing and not a lot of rushing yards. Total all yards offensively for the Steelers, 195. Unbelievable. And obviously the 2 turnovers for the Steelers were the key to this game. And Chris Johnson, 25 carries, 70 yards. It looks like he's coming back a little bit. Jake Locker, a little efficient. I would say efficient. 11 of 20, 125 yards. As long as he's efficient, the Titans' defense looks really good. They got blown out of a lot of games last year. If they can keep it tight, maybe they can do it this year. Seahawks-Panthers. Obviously, the Seahawks are apparently the number 1 team that everyone is picking to get to the Super Bowl, the hot team on the market right now. And Russell Wilson absolutely looked unbelievable. I mean, obviously the scoreboard says 12-7, Seahawks win over the Panthers. But Russell Wilson, 25 of 33, 320 yards passing and a score. Marshawn Lynch not ineffective a little bit. But you know what? As Russell Wilson at quarterback, I would take him pretty much in the top 5 of most quarterback lists, just because of the leadership that he has shown getting a win on the road in Carolina. And on the flip side, Cam Newton, 16 to 23, 125 yards. You need to pick up that win. The 2 turnovers cost the Panthers a chance to try to get the win, and time possession didn't help. They really did not move the ball very well through the air, which obviously cost them. Now, and then the last game, the Chiefs, unbelievable. The Chiefs, 28-2. Yeah, I said it, 28-2 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Alex Smith, the former San Francisco quarterback, 21 of 34, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamal Charles running for a little over 70 yards and a score. Blaine Gabbert on the flip side, 16 of 35 and 121 yards on the day. 2 turnovers cost them, obviously, but really, even with the 2 turnovers, Jaguars had no chance. Chiefs' defense was absolutely phenomenal, holding the Jaguars to under 200 yards of total offense. And Chiefs are 1-0 to start the season. And the one game I did want to talk about, actually, Patriots and Bills. Wow, what a game that was. Tom Brady, what can you say about this guy? I mean, obviously, 29 of 52, 288, 2 touchdowns. This guy does not have the top 5 receivers from last season on this roster, and he has done really well without those. He did really well in this game. Early on, it obviously was tough. You can't obviously throw it to Danny Amendola all the time. He got 10 receptions, 104 yards, and Julian Edelman caught a couple passes on the day for touchdowns. But Kenbrell Tompkins was a big mess. He really did not. His route running looked really suspect. But again, it was a really close game. And Shane Vereen, 14 carries, 101 yards on the ground for the Patriots. And hey, it was a field goal late by Steven Gostkowski that get them by the Buffalo Bills. And hey, that stadium in Buffalo looked absolutely rocking with new quarterback E.J. Manuel starting out this new, pretty much rebuilding the Bills franchise. And he did really well, in my opinion. 18 of 27, 150 yards, 2 scores. Very efficient with the ball, except late in the game. Quick 3 and out with under 5 minutes left, which probably cost them the game. And if you give the ball back with a little bit of time for Tom Brady, obviously we can see he can still do it. But obviously it's a huge step forward for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, obviously it's a franchise that's been really tough. They haven't made the playoffs since 1999. It's been a while. But I mean, again, looking at this game, their defense was absolutely all over Tom Brady. If they can do that next week in Carolina, we'll see what happens with that. And to keep you updated on the score, Cardinals and Rams are tied at 24 each with under 6 minutes left in the game. Rams just got the ball back. 1st and 10 on the St. Louis 5. And in the 49ers-Packers game, still 24-21 49ers. 49ers have the ball, 3rd and 14 on their own 30. I'll keep you updated throughout the hour for that game. Obviously tonight, Giants-Cowboys, 8:30 p.m. on NBC. Huge rivalry, Eli Manning, Tony Romo. We'll see how that goes. And also, obviously, Monday night games are Eagles-Redskins at 6:55 kickoff, and at 10:15, the Texans and the Chargers. Now, opening night for the NFL was absolutely insane. Peyton Manning at home taking on the defending Super Bowl champions, Baltimore Ravens. And did Peyton Manning put on a show or what? 27 of 42, 462 yards. That's fine. He's done that before. But 7 touchdowns on the day. Wow. 2 of them to Demaryius Thomas, and Julius Thomas, the former basketball star, is finally living up to the potential. When Eric Decker now is your 4th receiving option, obviously Wes Welker's also there now, the acquisition they got from New England, unbelievable. The Broncos were just all over that Ravens defense. Obviously they had to replace a lot on defense now that Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Kruger's gone, but they got Dumervil, a little help. But it wasn't enough as the Broncos just blow out the Ravens 49-27. For Peyton Manning, obviously, this is huge for him because, again, this is more of a Super Bowl or bust season for the Broncos. After last season where it was just so close in that loss to the Ravens. And, again, the Broncos are probably the best team in the AFC right now, if not the best team in the league. On the flip side for the Ravens, Joe Flacco, not too bad, 34 of 62, 362. 362 yards through the air and 2 scores. But honestly, some of his throws were just so erratic. He was just going for the home run hit ball all the time late in the game. Obviously, they were down by a lot. When Broncos just put up 21 points in the 3rd quarter and the Ravens don't, we pretty much know how that game's going to go. 510 yards of total offense for the Broncos. And again, no turning back. Broncos come out on top of that one. Now, we're going to take a short break, but right after the break, a little bit of some college football. Huge upsets yesterday from pretty much from all major programs, from the South to the West Coast to even in Texas. We'll tell you a little bit more about that